Din Djarin visits Peli Motto on Tatooine before the Bunta Eve festival in search of a new memory chip for IG-11. She does not have one, but instead sells him R524. Djarin, Grogu, and R5 fly to Mandalore, and Djarin orders R5 to scout ahead and ensure that the atmosphere is non-toxic. When R5 does not return, Djarin ventures after it and is attacked by several Alamites, a native troll-like species living in the caves. Heading deeper into the mines, Djarin is captured by a cyborg creature and sends Grogu for Bo-Katan's help. Katan rescues Djarin and kills the cyborg before leading Djarin to the living waters. Djarin begins to recite the creed to restore himself as a Mandalorian. However, a sudden drop-off causes him to sink deep into the water. Katan dives in to save him. On the way back up, she comes face to face with a mythosaur. Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T, and that is the synopsis of The Mandalorian Season 3. This is episode 2. It's entitled The Mines of Mandalore. And of course, this continues from last episode. We know the mission of Din Djarin. Of course, his companion is the ever adorable Grogu. And in this episode, we kind of saw the little guy kind of step it up, kind of showing what he's all about, and that he's actually been learning while being the companion and passenger of Din Djarin. He actually was able to pilot the ship of Din Djarin, of the Mandalorian. I mean, it could have been the what do you call it, the autopilot, but I think he used the Force. I think so. Speaking of using the Force, there's one funny scene where he was up against these, what do you call those, Alamites. And you thought, uh-oh, the little guy's up against something, but we saw what he did with that one creature. Remember that one? That huge, what was that? What was that? When was that? When Din Djarin was fighting that one big creature, that big beast, and you see Grogu using the Force, holding them up in the air. So it's funny because we don't really need to worry about the little guy. It's funny because sometimes they put him in a position where he's still a baby. Yeah, I mean, he's 50 years old, but that's in their species, that's still quite young, still learning. I think he said his first word to Peli Otto. She claimed that he did, but he could have just been going, which he kept doing to what do you call it? He kept doing that to Peli Motto, not Peli Otto. Every time Bo-Katan would say something, and something that he didn't like, or maybe something that he thought, why would you say that? And he would go, he'd just go, something like that, the little guy. And yeah, but we don't have to worry about the guy because it's like I said, sometimes you put him in a position where he's an innocent little guy, he's cute, he's whimpering, he's kind of worried, but then he has the power of those Alamite, one Alamite, when he had to escape because when when Mando was caught by that. He was caught by that. Call that cyborg. I guess that's what they call him, a cyborg. I guess he was in that. He was in his normal, you know, how he looks, and then when she killed him, it's almost like I can't think, but it almost kind of like there was like an attachment and broke off of the main frame and went into a huger thing, you know, a huger like exoskeleton, I guess you can say. And Bo-Katan is a badass. She had that dark saber, and she just slid underneath. She dragged it and cut long cut underneath the cyborg, and then she cut off its arms and legs, and then cut off its head, and you know, find out a lot of things about her too. You know, we know that she's royalty, Mandalorian. She's a princess. She comes from a line of royalty, and they go to the Mandalore, and it's a wreckage, and it's like it's not how it used to be. It's pretty much a figment of its what do you call that? Where it's not like it used to be, and it's, you know, ruins and like that. And like I said with Grogu, like that, when he's, you know, he's told by Mando, as Mando is captured by the cyborg, he's, you know, held in these enclosement, or what you want to call it, where he's, you know, in a trap, and he tells Grogu to go and get Bo-Katan. And when he was on there in his little spaceship thing there, what you want to call it, and he's on his way out there, there's one creature that snaps at him and almost gets him as he goes into the ship and slams against the window, that monster. And he goes and he gets Bo-Katan, and she comes back, and like I said, she takes out the cyborg and helps and saves Mando. And then she's telling him straight up, you know, that you know, she appreciates the fact that he is, what do you call it? He's you know, he believes in this children's fairy tale about the, you know, living waters, right? They find it, and he's reciting the creed of the Mandalorians, and he drops off. It's almost like a thing about people that can't swim, or they go to the deeper part of the ocean. You go way out there, and then people will say that if you go too far, you'll just drop off, and it's endless, it's deep. It's like, you know, when he falls, Bo-Katan dives after him, and when she gets him, is able to, you know, shoot up, you know, to the surface. On the way up, she sees that mythosaur. I wonder how huge that thing is. I mean, it looks huge. I wonder what it looks like if you see it in all its glory. And she gets out there. They both shoot out of the water, land on the other side there. Now, does this count as him having bathed in the, you know, in the living waters there? In the, you know, does it count? Was it a test by the armor? Maybe that she did that so she probably knew that the mythosaur is there, and she wanted to test him. Could be. But I enjoyed this episode. And before I continue, I read some stuff. There's people that are talking about Gina Carano, and we know what happened to her is BS. I agree. But then there are people that are saying that how come Pedro Pascal wasn't himself fired from the show, because he said some very, very derogatory things that are probably even worse than what she said. My thing about that is I don't care. Meaning, not that I don't care about Gina Carano. I think, like I said, it's BS. And the fact that, what do you call it, was saying that half of the US are Nazis, that's what I read that Pedro Pascal said he has every right to say whatever's on his mind. It can't be, it's not right. But here's my thing. I don't watch this show because I'm watching Pedro Pascal or Gina Carano or Carl Weathers. You know, I'm not watching them. I'm watching their characters. I'm watching The Mandalorian. Now, there's people out there that watch this that probably will tell me to fuck off and say that, you know, how can you say that you're backing Pedro Pascal? No, I watch this because I'm not about the politics. I'm not about the agenda or any of this other crap that's happening in our world today. You know, what do you call it? Cancel culture and all that stuff. People should be able to say what the heck they want to say without any repercussions. If it's an opinion, why is it people letting it bother them? I don't get that. But getting away from that so I can continue, I watch this because I enjoy it. And like I said, I'm not watching it because of Pedro Pascal. I'm not watching it because of Gina Carano in the past. I'm not watching it because of what Carl Weathers. Whatever their beliefs are, that's their beliefs. But I'm not going to let it affect me watching them. Pedro Pascal, to me, is one of the best actors going today. He has his opinions. I don't agree. A lot of people don't agree, but that's his opinion. We should all be accepting of what people want to say and what they want to think. And if you don't agree, just move on. Don't follow that person. Don't, you know, because nobody should be told what to do, you know, and people being punished for their opinion. That's what it is, folks. It's an opinion. Like the saying goes, everyone has an opinion. Opinions are just like assholes. Everyone has one. So let's move on from that. But this really was a very good episode. Like I said, I loved every bit of it. You know, seeing R524 shaking in his boots, or his metal robot boots, as, you know, Pelimoto is trying to sell him to Mando. And Mando, you know, the robot knows that what Mando's asking is a pretty scary proposition. Like, he's going to go with him to some, who knows what's going on now in, you know, Mandalore, in the area there. They found out the hard way, but he knew. Probably had a sixth sense in that robotic head of his. He goes there to check out the area to make sure that it's not toxic. You can breathe the air. He disappears. He doesn't come back to the ship. Mando goes in there, and then he has to face these whatchamacallits, these Alamites, and they remind me of that. Remember in Empire Strikes Back when Luke was in that cave and you had that abominable snowman type of creature up in there. You know, they're not as furry as that. They're not as you know, beastly like that, but you know, they're in the cave and they kind of act the way he did. I don't know if that's a callback or something, but they're different. I'm pretty sure. But you know, you have that, and like I said, in regards to Grogu, it's like this little guy is starting to come into his own. It's like he said his first word. You don't know what it is. What did he say? I think someone watched the video and then someone, you know, put the word there that he said when he had said what he said. You know, before she said, "Oh, you spoke your first word," and he wrote "bigot" on. So is that what he said? Because you kind of listen to him and it's like it has that type of a tone or a type of syllable. Like kind of like the, yeah. I don't know. Definitely not, but it's funny. Some people want to be out. Some people out there are funny. They're silly, and you know, like I said, man, I love the little guy who doesn't, and it's funny because we're seeing him come into his own. You know, I mean, he took it upon himself to, you know, to help out Mando. Mando told him to go, and he's going to do whatever his father tells of him. I mean, that's what Bo-Katan was telling him. You're your dad, your father, and all that stuff. Like, really, even when I like when she was talking to him as they were going to fly out to help, or they were actually already there in the cave there. And she was telling him how, you know, us Mandalorians and Jedis, you know, we have a lot in common. We used to get along quite well, and we also fought alongside each other. I guess something happened along the way, and that was not to be, you know, that was not to be. But I love finding out more about her, and we all know that she is a badass when it comes to fighting. But I love the fight scenes. I love the choreography, the way she handled the dark saber. Really, really, just good stuff. Absolutely entertaining. Really, really amazing. I really, really enjoyed it. And those guys are pretty formidable, those Alamites. But even like Mando, he fought them too, and I think he struggled more than Bo-Katan did. Does that mean that Bo-Katan's a better fighter than him? I don't know, but he handled his own too. But she was just fluid. Like I don't think she had a couple times like they were like knocking her down, but she really really handled her business. And like I said, Mando did too, and so did Grogu. Grogu was in that cave, and by the time I don't know if I even got into it, I think I went off on a tangent. But when he goes out to go to the ship, the Alamite is on him, jumps right in front of him, and then all of a sudden, and we saw it in the trailer, that Alamite goes flying back, and then you see Grogu coming out of the cave with his hand like this. That's why sometimes he plays the innocent role, but he's a badass, man. He can probably kick any of those creatures in the universe, in the Star Wars universe, and whatever galaxy. He probably can kick anybody's ass. You know what I mean? Like, but he's still a baby. He's still young, so he still has that way of thinking. Like I think when he does it, I think he does that his power only when he is, in a position where he has to use it. Like he had to use it, or else that guy was going to grab him and make him his next meal. There's one part in the script thing where Mando said that to Grogu. He said, "Know who those are? We were going to be their last meal. I mean, their next meal." And before he took him out. But like I said, I really enjoyed this. I love seeing Bo-Katan in this. A little bit more than we saw, except for the first episode. She was just sitting there. And then here we see her in action, and it's a good thing. I love seeing her on this. And I was just thinking about Casca Reeves, who's played by Mercedes Bernardo, who of course we know as Sasha Banks in WWE. And I wonder if her character's coming back, or maybe it wasn't popular enough that nobody really asked for her, but she might be coming back. We never know. We really didn't know that she was in the Mandalorian season that she was in, right? I watched the episode that was when remember when her and Bo-Katan were being recruited by Boba Fett and Din Djarin. And I watched that, and it was a really cool scene. I hope to see her back. It'd be nice to see her back again. But I mean, that's all pretty much I can say about this episode. I'm pretty sure I've covered as much as I could. Like I said, I love this episode. I love this show so far. Season 3 is coming along really well. Yeah, there's 2 episodes, but it's coming along well, and I'm enjoying it. And despite all of the complaints and all of the haters out there and the bandwagon jumpers that want to bash this show, I don't know what you're not seeing that those of us who enjoy this show are seeing. I get it. Some of you are going to nitpick at the canon. You're going to nitpick at the fact that the Mandalorian, the episodes we saw in Boba Fett don't connect to this one, or this one totally went far away from what was presented in the thing. A Grogu returned to Din Djarin, to Mando. People just want to complain about everything instead of just enjoying something. I get it. There is things to complain about. And whatever you watch, whatever show, of course, you're going to nitpick. People are going to nitpick at things. But sometimes, like I always say, you watch a movie or you watch a TV show or something, leave your damn brain at the door sometimes and just enjoy it. And then, you can then later on go, okay, I don't agree with that, I agree with that. Of course, people are going to do that. This is how it is in this day and age. People aren't satisfied. I don't understand why. Because if I didn't like the show, I would tell you. I would stop watching it. or I would bash the hell out of it every week. But I'm not going to because I enjoy the show. You know, politics and all that, be damned. I don't give a you know what about that. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Thank you for your support. And in closing, as always, take care.